Welcome to the Detailing Down Under podcast, the place for everything auto detailing in Australia right now. Here's your host, Dale Guthrie.
G'day and welcome to the Detailing Down Under podcast. I'm your host, Dale Guthrie. Welcome back again. Another awesome episode coming up today. So for those who listened to the last one, thanks for everyone's messages as well regarding that one. Not the sort of normal one would punch out, but it got a few people thinking and a few messages as well saying it was a good episode and they enjoyed it and made them think a bit what's going on. So but yeah, if you are needing help, reach out to anyone and any close friends or any helplines. So but yeah, no, it's not weak to speak, that's for sure. So not too much happening in my world, a little bit here and there. So but yeah, we do have an event coming up by the looks of it. Not so the boys from Detail Auto House and Polish Perfection Detailing, they're teaming up again, doing another training day. So that's Saturday, October 26th at the Detail Auto House studio. So paint correction and ceramic coating. So anyone up and coming and wanting to learn a bit more about both sides of them, reach out, check their socials for more details there. They not long just punched that one out. So give them a helping hand to get the word out about it. So yeah, give them a follow and give them a call and get on board. So, but yeah, not much else happening. So awesome one this week. Another young fella from Melbourne. So BJP Detailing. So Ben down there, top young fella, having a crack with everything and just we chat about everything, what's been going on with him, and yeah, he's got a busy private life coming up as well, which we touch on. And yeah, he's diving into PPF and just jumped on board with Modesta as well. So cool little story about that one, how that come about, and but he's having a crack, which is really good, and very determined and top young fella as well. So, but anyway, we'll jump into that one. So if you are wanting to jump on, I do have some people to follow up with as well. We're trying to align some dates and times as usual. So, but yeah, if you reach out to us and we'll try and lock in some times and hit the record button. So anyway, enjoy this one. I certainly did, and we'll chat soon. Cheers, guys. All right, we're back. Finally back again, recording. So let's welcome Ben from BJP Detailing in Melbourne. How's it going?
Good, thank you, Dale. How are you?
Not too bad. So thanks for taking the time to jump on the weekend.
No worries. I've been in the pipeline for a little bit and finally scraped some time that we can get it done. So it's good to be here, and I'll let everyone listening.
Yeah, thanks, mate. So yeah, we do keep in touch, and we did. So we met. I met you at the Gion conference, the recent one. So
yep,
it was good to finally meet you. We have chatted before in regards to a few things, so it was good to put a face to the voice. So how's things in Melbourne? Flat out?
It's starting to pick back up again. It was a bit of a quieter winter than usual, but it's sort of that thing. It's like, you're looking 1 week out, 2 weeks out, and then one day you get a phone call, and then the next 2-3 months are booked up. So it's really starting to pick back up again, which is good. And yeah, it's looking busy.
Yeah. As people, I think I've been following you a little bit. You do a few secondhand cars. Are you getting many? Are people buying new cars still down your way?
They definitely are still buying them. I don't do many of the new cars, just given the amount of time and effort I sort of put into mine. It's sort of the guys in the bigger shops who do a correction and coating packages for new car do more of that. And I sort of like to focus on the secondhand cars, and the more of the restoration type of things is more my go-to, but still do a few new cars here and there, but not as many as sort of, when you kind of came out of COVID and it was just pumping the new cars. So yeah.
Is that more of a challenge? Do you prefer the second-hand stuff?
It's definitely more of a challenge, and I like the whole craft and the skill required to sort of turn something that's looking pretty rough into something amazing, and that's what I always that's my passion for the detailing, is those big corrections and coatings, and I really like to test myself and my skills, and I get a lot of joy out of that. So yeah, if I had to choose between the two, I'd definitely go for the secondhand cars that need some love, and yeah.
Doesn't matter what it is either. What was the other week? You had a little red, what was that? A little
Yeah,
cruise or something thing?
I think it was a little Holden Verena.
That's all right.
Yeah, I had a returning customer who brought me their car for a correction and coating and loved it so much that she booked in her mum's car for a detail as like a gift for her. And she goes, "Oh, it's not what you normally do." I said, "No, I'm happy to give it a go." And she goes, "All right." Well, she dropped it off, and I was like, "Ah, yeah, right." A challenge, but it was good. And that customer, if she's listening, hello, and appreciate all the work that she's been bringing in. But when a customer is happy with the job and is thankful, then it's all worth it. And any source of income is good, and we appreciate all jobs.
That red too pops when you bring a dull red car up, and
Yeah, something different about the old red cars that need some love.
yeah. So, what brought you into detailing? I know you have an interest and backstory of a previous occupation, which we might touch
Yeah.
on as well. So, how'd you get into detailing for a start?
So my very first look into detailing, my brother had a Nissan Silvia, and Damon from Auto Attention actually came out and basically transformed this car. And I thought to myself, like, did he respray the car in the garage, or like, what's going on here? That was my first sort of eye opener to the detail world. And then I first got my hands into detailing. I was working full time at a television broadcast company, and I had bought a brand new car, and I'd done all the research to, how do you keep your car clean, and how to wash it safely, how to use grit guards, get the right wash products, the wash mitts, dry it with a blower, prevent the swirl marks, the water spots, and then that's also how the relationship with the detail store first started. But after a few months, especially in Melbourne, the car had been out in the rain, and had formed some really bad water spots. So I started doing all the research down the rabbit hole, YouTube, websites, forums, Facebook groups, and I had ended up going and buying a water spot remover from the detail store again, and it basically did nothing. And I thought, oh, okay, well, it's obviously not that easy. So back into the research, and then I came to the conclusion that I needed to probably get my car detailed, and I had also in the research looked at coating. So I thought, oh, maybe I'll get a guy to come down and do a paint correction and a coating. And I reached out to a guy, and he gave me a quote for this pretty new car. It was $3,600, and I thought, oh, maybe at that price I'll give it a go myself. So bought all the gear again from the detail store, and asked them questions, did all the research, and I thought, it all makes sense. It's all pretty easy. It's just a few water spots. And then I sort of got halfway through the car. I was 3 days in. I got, I should have just paid someone else to do this. So yeah, that's how I sort of got into it. And then after that car was done, I was really happy with the outcome. I coated it, and family saw the car and they couldn't believe, sort of like what I'd done in the garage at home. And then family, friends, and that started. And I enjoyed the craft, and people kept on asking me to do more and more and more. And till this day, still doing lots of research and growing the knowledge. But yeah, I think after that, it just all plummeted, and eventually it got so busy, and in my full-time job, I'd actually like become very stressed, and work was getting like quite, stressful, and I'd gone through like a bad breakup at the time, and I thought, you know what, like life's not worth being this stressed. And I actually left full time, and I was doing freelance work in television, and then doing detailing on the side in between the gaps. And then the detailing just got so busy that I was like, maybe I should give this a go. And yeah, my parents really pushed me to sort of look at doing my own business, and taking this newfound skill and love, and really trying to make something of it. And Yeah, a few years down the track, here we are.
No, that's cool. How did you go with, like, I get this question, people actually email me about how to start out. Like, it's funny that they ask me, but um so when you researching products and stuff and watching YouTube, how did you pick a like a polish or anything to sort of do it yourself? Did you do what the guys on YouTube were doing, or you just sort of whatever's the most
Yeah,
popular, whatever detail store was sort of
I
top sellers?
definitely watch multiple videos or read multiple articles and see learn more so about the process and why something works rather than just copying someone else's product. So if I found that you know some reputable brands had a product, I'd look into them, see if they got like fillers and that sort of stuff. And if I saw multiple trends of people using one that was popular, I'd always go and check out the price, of course, but I'd probably lean more towards something that was more widely used because I know it would work. So I mean, anyone could just about watch a video, go buy the same product and copy it. But I was really all about learning why it works, how it works, and then made my judgment off that, and then go, okay, well, you know, for example, like you've got the detail store, or you've got Wax It, and do they have the same product or do they have something similar? And then, I wouldn't always go for the cheapest one, but I'd go for one that had a good reputation more so.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Because yeah, just people starting out, I always get the question, even people like off who get their car done, they're like, oh, what polish do you use? Or
Yeah.
if you go and talk to someone, what polish can I use to polish my car? And I'm like, that's a very broad question.
Mm, mm,
Where do I start? But
yeah.
I just stick to what I use. Like I've always said, I just stick to a certain brand and
Mm,
then adjust that pad line and whatever to that. So rather than
yeah.
have 5 different brands of polish, you just stick to the one line and then just adjust your pads and pressure and everything around that.
Yeah, that was something I definitely had a problem with at the start because I would just buy everything and try everything and then see how it worked rather than buy one and then adapt your skill or adapt your technique, which a lot of people still have a million polishes and still have a million products and they will go through them all and then try and find one that works. Whereas though if you have a good product and you believe in a product, you can adapt your skill and your technique to make it work for that particular scenario. But
Mm.
I mean, today there is so many products out there that you could literally have something different for every car and get a good result. So yeah,
Mm. No, it is interesting. I always try and ask that one for people, but for people listening that are trying to, and that'll lead to other things as well that I'll ask. But like the challenges, what, because you just started out, like how did you go? Did you stay at home for a bit, work from home, or how long were you
yeah,
into your shop and stuff?
yeah. So I started out of funnily my parents' garage, and I had a pretty good space there where I could set up the cars. Had pretty good lighting, um, and then I mean after that I sort of leaned into like the mobile detailing and I did, the bigger corrections and coatings at home. And then if people wanted like a quick wash or clean, I was willing to go out and do it. And I think mobile detailing it's a completely different game in its own. You learn so much so fast because you're out on the run and you're adapting and you're under that time pressure. And you really do sort of grow in your skills a lot by doing that. I didn't like doing much of it because I hated going out and being in the sun for, 10, 12 hours at a time. So any option to get people to bring the cars to where I was working at was the way to go.
Yep. No,
As
nice.
far as challenges, um, so was obviously at home and then doing mobile and home for a bit. And then um, the detail store, funnily enough, had moved into a shop when they started to grow a bit bigger, and I was going there to do click and collect, and I met the guys from Pinnacle Customs there because they were sharing a shop, and a space opened up in that shop, and they were looking to get a detailer in, so I snapped it up straight away and moved in there, and that's how like the dynamic between us three sort of started, and eventually the detail store got so big and moved out, and I took over their space, and yeah, now I'm there sharing with those guys, and yeah, it's good space.
Yep. What are they, Pinnacle, what do they get up to?
They do a lot of vinyl wrap color change, PPF as well. Um, So really, the dynamic is quite good because a car can come in, they can get color change wrap, they can get PPF, they can get window tint, they can get detailing, coating, everything in the one place. So it's a really good dynamic between us two, and yeah.
Yeah. No, nice. You talk about like your current business services. So I know you've just gone into PPF. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I've been practicing and looking into it for about 18 months. Um, I first started learning and thought, okay, well, this is definitely not as easy as it looks. And then I thought, paint correction when you first do it, it's not as easy as it looks online, but like anything, if you practice, you get good at it. And I loved it. And PPF was just one of those things that every time I did it, I loved it and enjoyed it and got better and better and better. So that's something that we have been offering over the past year, but I haven't been promoting it and sort of pushing it as much because I really want to hone those skills in and put out some good work. Obviously, in Melbourne and Sydney, you got a lot of good PPF shops, and I didn't feel as though until my work is at that standard, it was something I wanted to push. Anything that did come in for a PPF would always leave at that a high level, of professional install. There was lots of rolls of film that I went through just wasting it until I got it right. Even a few panelists have had speck of dust. No job is ever without it, but I would still go and replace panels just to hone that skill in. And we're sort of 18 months on now, and I've sort of just bought a plotter and I'm going to start pushing it a bit more. But yeah, I wouldn't call myself an expert by any means, but definitely sort of I would get around a car and
Yeah. No, it's interesting. So what are you aligned to a brand, or are you just using whatever you can find?
I started out with practicing with Stack. Obviously, the guys at the shop were using Stack, and therefore, like they taught me a lot of things, and the film was there, and I had to go with it. Um, Once I was confident and I sort of, knew the correct techniques and how to apply it, what to do when you made mistakes, which is arguably one of the toughest things that people get stuck with is like when you do make a mistake, how do you fix it without ruining the piece? And then when I got to that stage, I was like, all right, well, I need to start buying film. And obviously at the time, Steck was the most expensive. And I thought maybe I don't have to use the most expensive to do more practice. So I looked into Suntech, and they were sort of, really helpful and helped me grow and develop my skills. Good network around it too. So you could always reach out to other professionals and they would always be willing to help you. So I looked into Suntech and did a bit of that. Then I sort of wasn't happy with the finish and didn't love the material. It was good. But then I went sort of back to Steck, and yeah, so now looked into some other brands as well. And UPPF is one that I've been looking at for a while, and they sent me some stuff out and I did some testing, and I was a bit because sometimes when people are willing to send you stuff, it's not always the best. But I was really happy with it, and I've been doing that for a little bit now, a few rolls in, and I'm loving it so far. So I'll probably look at sticking with either Stack or UPPF going down the track. But it's one of those things. In detailing, there's always products that are changing. There's always film that's changing in PPF. Sometimes it's good batches, sometimes it's bad batches. So I don't like the idea of being stuck to one. But if something's good and they've got a good network and a good support behind it, I'll probably stick with it.
Yeah. Is there that UPPF? Is that like a? I wouldn't say it's an Aussie brand, but is it? Is there a distributor here for it, or how does it?
There is a distributor here for it. So Ryan from UPPF, I think he's based out of Sydney, and they've got a warehouse in Sydney. Um, he sort of helped me out and sent me some film and gave me the whole rundown of it all.
Mm.
I'm pretty sure, and don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure it's all made in a factory in China. Um, I'm not an expert in the whole PPF background of things, so there is lots of different brands, and majority of the film comes from China. But apparently, there's a few um, factories that are better than others, and supposedly, what I'm told, this is one of the good ones. But it's like anything, like the products, I'll give it a go, I'll test it out, and I'll find my own personal judgment. So I won't judge anything sort of until I know the facts. And so far, it's been so good, and we'll see how it looks after a year or two. And just keep adapting, keep on offering the best products and service that we can, because why wouldn't you? You got such a big industry full of different brands and different products. Like, why wouldn't you want to just offer the best? And if you're not going to test them out yourself, then why should you be putting them on other people's cars?
Yeah, exactly. No, and another one like around your coding side of things. So we met at the up at the Geon. You're running Geon now. You've jumped the fence and gone Modesta.
Yeah, yeah. Few different brands here and there, but I've Modesta was always a goal of mine. So ever since I first started detailing, you watch YouTube or you watch, other videos online, and for me, a big inspiration for the whole detailing was probably Jim from White Details, and still to this day, like I watch his
Mm,
videos, I'm like, man, like
he's awesome.
yeah, just unreal. Everything like I aspired to be, and that's where I first saw Modesta, and I thought, oh, I'll look into this, and then it was just completely different to everything else. The whole network behind it, it's one guy who makes it by hand to order basically. So there's batches, gets sent out. It's exclusive and it works. Like the whole science behind it, they teach you about the science of it. They're not trying to sell you a million products. There's Modesta are like, here's our product. It works. That's it. We're not going to try and sell you 400 different layers of coatings and these bottles and that. But I just got obsessed with it basically. And it was always a goal of mine to, hone in my skills, get better, learn. And then one day I sort of reached out to Modesta and I was told basically no, because, you're too close to other people or you're not ready yet, sort of thing. Which was probably good because over the years of you sort of like learning your skill and learning your craft, you get to appreciate different things and you learn so much more. And um, just recently, I got the opportunity to come down and do training, and I jumped on it, and yeah, love it so far, and love what the whole brand's about. Love the products, and yeah, it's just suits the way I work. So I feel like it's a really good fit for me in my business.
Yep, nice. How'd you go with the different processes? Not that I know much about the Modesta, but you see the processes. It's a lot more than a Geon single or two application install, isn't it?
So for me personally, not really. The more research that I was doing and the processes that I was following prior to coding was much the same. The guys from Modesta helped um, provide information and basically training on how and why things work and how you should prep a car properly. And that was really eye-opening because you see a lot of people just go, oh, just a quick paint correction or whack that coating on after a prep spray. It's like, what are you actually coating over the top of? Like, do you actually know what's in the polishes? And have you ever washed a car after you polished and see it bead water? So
Mm,
90% of people would just polish the car, do a quick prep spray or an IPA and whack the coating on. But really, like you're just layering it on top of like oils or solvents or who
yeah.
knows what else is in there. Whereas though all the Modest guys were following this process of washing their cars afterwards. And I thought, what the heck? Aren't you going to scratch it up? And then I did it one time and it made a massive difference. Like the way the coating laid down, the way it lasted, and the whole prep involved. And I thought, oh, I'm going to follow this. Doesn't matter what brand I'm using. I'm just going to follow this prep. And it worked. So I was actually doing that before I went to Modesta. Um, Now, obviously, with Modesta, you have the access to the product, so you can use their primer and their coating. So you're going to probably spend a few more hours there. But me personally, it was a perfect fit. It's not taking me any longer to do cars, but at the same time, it's definitely not faster.
Yep.
So if your prep is, just sort of wash it, clay it, polish it, wipe it down, and chuck a coating on, then if you're going to try and jump to Modesta, it's going to be a huge shock for you. But yeah, everyone's different. It doesn't mean that the way other people do it's wrong, but that's why I went for that brand is because it follows practices that I believe in. So I love being part of it.
Yep. Yeah, nice. Hey, I see the wheel coating. I like the look of that install because you can just spray it on and leave it. Isn't that right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Modesta BCO6. That's pretty cool. And the first time you apply, you're like, oh yeah, this is what it's all about. As long as you're doing the correct prep, you're following all the right steps. you are going to save a lot of time because you can just lay it down and not have to wipe it off. So when you're doing like those G80 M3 wheels and there's a million spokes, yeah, it still takes you a while to prep them. But when you're laying down the coating, it's obviously much faster, and then you got to bake it on. And yeah, you get a really, really nice candy gloss from Modesta BCO6. And every time I lay it down, I'm just like, oh, it's just something different about it. And it's nice. So yeah, it's some pretty impressive products.
No, nice. That's cool. So, no employees? You look into the future for employees, or you're not sure about that?
So at the moment, it's just myself. Obviously, I share a shop with the guys at Pinnacle. So when I have to lay down PPF and I need a hand to either stretch the film or put it on, I'll get them to give me a hand. Um, Long term, I definitely want to expand the shop and maybe move to somewhere bigger and look at training up an employee. Um, for the moment, it is just me though.
Yep. And you got a bit going on in your personal life as well?
Yeah, it's all happening lately. Got engaged and then found out that going to be a dad, so that's going to be happening shortly. And we thought we better just throw a wedding in there just to really.
Wow.
So yeah, it's all happening.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. So
Yeah,
yeah, I think everyone will tell you, yeah, life does change with a baby on the way, but it's yeah, you won't regret it for sure. So
yeah. Heard a lot of mixed reviews, a lot of good ones, a lot of people saying goodbye to your sleep. But as a detailer, I'm sure others can relate. And a business owner, there's not much of that happening anyway. So
no. So do you no other products you're really certified with, is it? No, it's just mainly Modesta and stuff like that. So
Um, when I first started out, I was always trying different brands of consumer-based products, and had good results and loved them, but really wanted to take my business to the next level. So looked at joining a brand of such. I started out with G Technic, and that was great. I learned a lot from Phil and loved the products. The whole advertising, marketing behind it was fantastic. The only thing for me personally was that there's a lot of guys around there doing it, and I always thought that the amount of effort and work I was putting into my installs, I wanted something I could offer that was different. So I started looking at other brands. I looked into Wax is Dead. I looked into Geon. I looked into the Car Pro and all that, and I ended up going with Geon at the time, and that was good. And then the opportunity popped up for Modesta, and I sort of grabbed that and run with that. And I found that works for me and works for my customer base. So I really just grabbed that and run with that. And the other brands still make fantastic products. And if you're ever looking for a brand, they're both pretty good companies to sort of join and be part with. And for me, what's important is that something that fit my business model, and I enjoy applying every day and I get excited for. I can put passion into it, and that was Modesta, and that's why I've just sort of stuck with that for the moment. And I
yeah,
don't want to offer too many different things because at the end of the day, you'll just confuse the customers. And every time someone asks me, "Oh, hey, would you put this on your car?" I'd be like, "Yes, I'd put that on my car." So yeah,
yep,
sticking with this for the moment.
yep. And you mentioned other guys in your area. So do you know many other details in your area, or what the culture's like around?
Yeah, so in the area that I'm in Melbourne, so out in Nunawading, there is a lot of detailers. Like, so on every corner of the block, there's just about a detailer or a wrap shop, and uh, it's pretty crazy. It's competitive, but at the same time, everyone has their own customers. So you always have your return customers who I'm incredibly grateful for. I love every one of my customers, and it sort of only becomes a thing when you looking to branch out and acquire new customers. So um, obviously having so many people around approaching new customers, there's going to be that competition on price. But look, every time a customer comes through the door, we always do our very best to obviously provide the best service possible. And I put a lot of focus into retaining my customers. Um, so it's never really a problem. There's a million cars out there, so everyone is always busy. We've never had, any problems, and you can always reach out to another shop, especially around the corner. They're always willing to chat and be helpful. So it's a good culture. It's competitive, but at the same time, everyone around the area is pretty successful. So everyone's, kind and friendly, and you can sort of go call them up and say, hey, want to go for a coffee? And yeah, they'll give you the time of day. It's really good. So I found also like the podcast has definitely been a good turning point in getting people to, reach out to the neighbors and say, oh, hey, because, before that, like people weren't really doing that. And this definitely helps to sort of break the ice a bit. And yeah, I found it was really good. And for me, it made a difference too, because I had another detailer go, oh, hey, how's it going? Like, have you listened to this podcast before? And I thought, oh, no, what's this guy on about? And I listened to it and I thought, wow, there's actually a lot of people who do this. And sort of opened up a new world. And yeah, it's actually made the culture a lot better. And yeah, it's good.
That
A
that
lot
was
of,
the intent anyway.
yeah,
Hopefully, like we can all relate and talk products, and yeah, if not palm off work to each other too as well. That's another
yeah.
one benefit from it. So, how's the marketing, and are you a big Google reviews guy?
Google reviews are very important. I think any business owner can relate to that. And obviously, most people nowadays just, if they want something done, they look it up on Google. And, if you got good reviews, odds are they'll at least give you a phone call, or, just believe in the reviews and try it out. Marketing for me was always one of the biggest challenges for a business. Learning the back end of it and learning, websites and SEO and doing ads and all that. It's definitely a huge learning curve for me. And I've only just started sort of looking into Google ads and stuff like that. And at the same time as having Google ads, you acquire new customers, but the way that sort of we run as existing clientele and word of mouth, which is arguably more important. So I do spend a bit of time looking into the marketing side of things, but at the same time, I haven't done much of it yet. So hopefully looking to, expand those skills a bit more and acquire new customers that way.
Yeah. So, in your previous occupation about the TV production side of things, would that help, or has it helped with sort of like doing your social media video or anything, or is that just completely non-existent, doesn't relate?
It definitely has a part to play. Obviously, like the angles of photos and the lighting, it's all very important. And in television, like I used to come from a part of the production and the technical team that would always color grade the pictures, um, set up equipment and all that sort of stuff. So I've always had a tech background, and I sort of know what goes into a picture, like the lights and the colors and all that. So all the social media, I like to post pictures that look real. So basically, like the white on the walls. If you just take a photo on your phone and you got different color sourced lights, it's going to look different. So anytime we do put some sort of professional photo out, like on the Instagram or on the website, color grading that and doing all that properly is really important for me. I sort of know what I want and what I'm after, and then I just get a photographer to come and take it, and then he edits them as well. But it's not really a huge part in what we do now, but it definitely is sort of one of those things. It's like your media is important, and your photos and videos that you post, like they need to look real. Like if you've got these weird filters on them, people are just gonna be like, oh, it's got a filter on it. But when you post something and people go, oh, that looks real, and that, wow, that car must be shiny, then yeah, that's important. But it's not a huge part in what I do now, but
Yeah.
helps. Every little bit helps.
No, that's right. Yeah, I can relate with my paint job. Well, it's all white now. It was sort of like it was sort of, yeah, and it sort of sucked all the light out in that room. So once I
Mm,
got it repainted, it made a huge difference. So
yeah, absolutely.
painted white or and black or whatever. But yeah, and that's one thing I've noticed in the industry now. Like everyone's getting media people in, which is nothing wrong with. I think it's awesome. But
Mm,
they get in and do their socials or whatever, do their videos and reels, and so that I think I've noticed that the last probably 6 months, the amount of people
yeah,
bringing outside people in or whatever, and I think that's cool.
yeah, it is good. For me, being a one man show, it's hard for me to put out those nice clips and the content and all that sort of stuff. And it's great for advertising, but especially with all the work that we do and the detail we go into, I'd rather just take a nice video and show exactly what we're doing, because that's real, that's raw, that's is as it is. And any of the nice photos that you can put up, for advertising is just a bonus. So yeah, I would like to be able to have someone to come and create that content and all that, but it's not going to be a focus. Like, I'm always going to just focus on the work that we actually do and make sure the customer's happy, rather than just how an Instagram or a website looks.
Mm. Yeah, all your good photos that you get taken anyway work well on the website. So
Yeah, they're pretty good, pretty good. Shout out to Vin if you're listening. He does all that. So thanks, Vin.
oh, nice. So we'll rip into the 6-stage questions. So I've done these for a while. Can you remember your first ever detailing job?
First ever detailing job. I wouldn't call it detailing, but as a kid, I always used to have to wash Dad's car every week. With the old classic chamois and sponge, and then that's sort of where the love came for washing cars and keeping cars clean. And then, uh, obviously, did my own car back before I got into it. And then I had a friend's old Holden, and he had seen my car, and he goes, "Oh, you want to do my car? I'll give you some money for it." And I thought, "Oh, yeah, right, I'll give it a go." And yeah, it was this old Holden Calais that was just a daily driver. It had like 300,000 Ks on it, and just it was scratched and basically looked like a wreck. And we sort of did like this major paint correction coating on it, and he was like pretty impressed. Had to sand back the wheels and everything, and did the interior, and it was like a full restoration. But that was my first ever paid job, so it was good. Still remember that.
Yeah. Car's probably worth a fortune now.
Oh, I don't know. It's pretty rough.
Favorite polisher?
Ooh, the one that I go to the most would probably be the Rupes 21 millimeter. It's real smooth and it cuts really nice. If I had to recommend anybody who's going to buy their own polisher for the first time, probably don't have to go and spend all that sort of money. Like, the first polisher I had ever bought was the Apex Custom Sensei Pro, and I still have that today. So there is definitely good machines out there that can do the job. You don't have to go and buy the biggest and most expensive, but I do like my repairs, that's for sure.
That's I think detail stores sell that one, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yep. Yeah, I've seen that. No, cool. Have you ever been a rotary man?
I have, back in the day when we used to sort of, wash
40.
cars and polish them up at home. Um, Dad used to have this massive rotary polisher with a wool pad on it and then a foam pad, and we used to polish boats, cars, and everything with the same pad. And I did have a go at that, and when I sort of did all the research about getting into polishing and wanted to do my own car, I sort of looked at the DA and read up about why the DA works, how it does, and I thought, oh, that'd be great and save the arms and shoulders. But nowadays, I still have the rotaries. I still whip them out from time to time. Um, I don't use them as much because by the time I get it out and I do the 2 rounds of correction, I just find that it's easier on the body to hit the DA and get it done. Lots of good pads out there now, so I don't go to it much. Still use it every now and again, but it's not my preferred, that's for sure.
Yep. If you could have one car, what would it be?
Oh, so my dream car was always a Toyota Supra, like a Mark IV Supra, which when I was 20, I found one that came up on car sales for a good price, exactly what I wanted, and I bought it. So I bought the car before I was even allowed to drive it, and till this day, that's been a massive project. And fully gutted the interior, resprayed it inside and out, built the motor. Yeah, just did everything to it possible, and I still have that today. But I reckon a dream car, if I had infinite amounts of money, would be a Porsche GT2 RS.
Yep. GT2.
Mm.
Different. It's good. Favorite detailing tool or product?
Favorite detailing product right now would have to be Modesta Primer. The finish you get from that it's almost unfair. I just love it. Gives you something different that I haven't had from any other product out on the market. And in terms of favorite tool, would have to be the UV curing lamps. I love those things, and any car that has water spots, whether it, is a returning car or a brand new car that's been hammered at the dealership, the UV curing lamps definitely have a place in, prepping your car and prepping the vehicle before paint correction and after. And then obviously, ensuring that once you've coated your car and the car leaves, that in 3 or 4 days and the sun hits it, those water spots don't come back up. So I do love
That's
those.
that's funny because I was, for those who haven't listened to my Bali episode, I was trying to tell um the guy about that and that
Yeah.
technique because I've heard of it, but I only notice it because all you Modesta boys run it, and I know that probably comes from your training, and it's probably not silly. So I was always interested about that process, and you don't see many other people doing that.
No, it's definitely something that's quite different. I've put a lot of research and time into trying to work out how and why it actually works. Obviously, when we do the training, they teach you that when you bake the car at a certain temperature for a certain amount of time, that the minerals can actually come to the surface, and then you can correct them out, and you don't have to cut as deep down. So obviously, all water spots and bird poo etch down, and somehow that when you bake it, it brings it back to the surface a little bit. I am still looking for more information, and it seems to be more of a physical reaction than a chemical. Don't quote me on it. And if anyone out there knows, please send me a message and tell me why and how it works, because there is very limited information I can actually find on it. But from what I gather, and I've asked body shops as well, and every time I ask them, they just look at me weird. But yeah, when you bake it, they come to the surface and you can correct them out much better. And then as well, when you apply your coating, if you have pre-baked the panel after you've done like correction or even before correction and they're not too bad, you know that when you put that coating down, you bake your coating on afterwards, those water spots aren't going to come up. So you're not going to waste your time. But yeah, if anyone else knows any more information or the science behind it, please let me know, because I'm always trying to, better my skills and, gain more knowledge. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's quite an impressive process that not a lot of people do, and it surprises me because down in Melbourne, especially, or in the cities where it rains a lot and then it gets sunny and then it rains and gets sun, like water spots are a huge issue. And it doesn't matter what coating you have, water spots will be a problem.
yeah, I agree. Yep. No. And I just thought we sort of reversing the process, as I thought you'll reheat the panel, and
Essentially,
polish it back
yeah.
down. Yeah.
But the whole science of why that works, that's what I want to know. Um,
Mm.
it's impressive how it works and the results you get, but yeah, I definitely done a lot of looking into it, and I love finding out exactly why things happen the way they do. Like, as a detailer, you always hear about using alkalines and acids to your advantage, and diluting them, and pH neutral and all that. And you can find the information online about that. But when you try to look this sort of thing up and you ask body shops and they look at you weird, it's like, well, is it a phenomenon? No, it's not, because it works, but I'm not smart enough and I haven't done as much research to say why it works.
No, if it works, keep doing it. So that's good.
Yeah,
How did you find the Modesta primer versus the Geon primer, as you would have
it's
used
a
that before?
good question. And I was always um, envious of those guys who had Modesta Primer to find out what really is the difference. After the research I've done, um, obviously with the Geon primer, it swells the paint so that you can put a coating down and it almost like fills those pore. I don't know if that's correct terminology of it. That's the way that works. Whereas a Modesta primer is a resin base, so you're sort of laying down that foundation layer, and then with Geon primer, you're supposed to, as I'm told, wipe it down with a prep spray or an IPA afterwards to remove any excess oils. Modesta, you don't have to do that. So in terms of how I find them, they're slightly different, and they are like different technologies. They both give a fantastic gloss, but if I had to take one over the other, I'd probably choose the look over the Modesta.
Yep. I know the Geon primer you can leave it for 48 hours if you've got 48 hours spare and then coat over the top of it. But
Yeah.
No one's
Yeah.
got time for that. So
Well, if you do have time for that, I'd still recommend using the prep because, I mean, I'm not going to go too far down the rabbit hole, but if you think about what you're actually laying your coating down on top of, if it has oils in it that needed to be removed 48 hours ago, why don't you have to remove them without, 48 hours afterwards anyway? So I would always encourage somebody to probably use a prep spray still.
Yep.
But again, they'll tell you what to do, and I don't work for them, so I can't tell you what to do or why you should do it, and I'm no expert. So
yeah. No, I don't have 48 hours to leave it on, but no, it's a good one. Biggest tip for a detailer starting out?
Oh, now I should follow my own advice. But if you're a detailer starting out, obviously it's important to do your own research, develop your skills. But if you're serious about starting a business, go and do a business course and how to run a business so that you're starting good habits from the beginning. And I wish I had done that. And when I get some extra funds, I will probably go and do that because I've learned so much from other professionals in the industry and even the Modesta guys about running a business. And every time I talk to someone, I develop my knowledge and get better. But if you want to speed up your progression, go and do a course, learn from a professional.
Awesome answer there. And interests outside of detailing, if you've got time.
Always loved cars and going on a cruise, as I'm sure most of us guys into detailing do. I used to play a lot of soccer or football for whoever's listening, and was quite good at that and loved that until I had a big injury. And now I'm just into camping and water skiing. So love going camping, love going water skiing. Always grew up water skiing and going on boats and jet skis and all that. And yeah, if I had a week off, luckily enough, probably never happen here again, given everything that's going on. I would go water skiing. That's for sure.
Are you camping in a tent or a caravan or a cabin or what's your go-to?
Camping, I love going like proper camping. So whether it be in a tent or even backpacking, right into that. Basically, you're away from all the technology, you're away from all the daily distractions, and you can just sort of unwind and really, chill out. And I like going at Lake Eildon. We've got a houseboat up there, and it's almost like camping but on water, and it's great because you're away from everyone. You can't see anyone. You just look out into the water, and it's peaceful. So yeah, that's my happy place. That's for sure.
Oh, that's cool. Now, I know there's a few campers in the industry, so which is cool.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
no, nice, mate. Well, that pretty much wraps it up. How do people get hold of you?
If you want to reach out, the quickest way to do it is probably just via the Instagram, or if you want to add me on Facebook, you can, or if you got a professional inquiry, definitely send an email through the website.
Yeah. No, that's cool, man. So, all right, we'll wrap it up. But thanks heaps for coming on, and
No, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
we finally got here eventually. So we're all busy, and you're probably about to get busier. So that's cool.
Oh yeah.
No, it's good. So awesome. We'll finish up, and thanks everyone for listening. We'll talk soon. Cheers, Ben.
Thank you.
Cheers.
That was another episode of the Detailing Down Under podcast. Subscribe now for everything auto detailing in Australia.